Well, quick stop there, but welcome everybody to Office Hours episode 882. And look at Gigi just bringing my boys right on time. The incredible Dr. Jason Pfeiffer is in the house
Hey,
down in
David.
Houston, still celebrating our incredible space program. What's going on, Doctor?
Nothing. Had another great week. Have been working, moving forward. Things have been going great here in Houston.
And what's the greatest thing you got going on? Just curious.
I
Asking for
mean,
a
it's got to
friend.
be my family, right? That's it.
Yeah.
My family. My kids are 17, 15, and 13, getting bigger. My middle son's going to be getting his driver's license here soon, so we're practicing driving, all kinds of fun stuff.
I love it. I am having a big family week as well as I'm leaving for my daughter's graduation from Wisconsin. So those are rare and beautiful occasions. And my third daughter, I got one to go, three for four, not bad. And all of them are healthy, happy, wealthy, and wise at such a young age. But I wouldn't have our next co host here if it wasn't for one of my daughters. And I was mentioning to Bart Berkey that my daughter Mia has very rarely ever introduced me to someone. She's very careful, and she never wants to disappoint me. So she's a very, very tough vet of somebody. And she came to me when she met the amazing Bart Berkey and said, "Dad, I met someone just like you. You guys are going to be best friends. And he's an amazing person. You got to meet Bart." And I've never heard her tell me that. So I was like, right on. All right, let's do this. And sure enough, she was absolutely correct. The amazing Bart Berkey is here as well. So thank you, Bart, for joining me. And we're going to go through real quick because Gigi brought you on a little bit quicker than normal, and the music seemed to stop shorter than normal. Let's just go through the schedule. A lot of people complained to me, I didn't know you were going to be in Madison. I didn't know you're going to be in Chicago. I didn't know you're going to be in Bahamas, in Atlanta with Sharon Lecter and Bill Walsh. I didn't know you're going to be with Jesse Itzler and Chad Chandrigran and Kim Walsh Phillips and Justin Guarini in Atlanta. I didn't know you're going to be in Chicago keynoting the restaurant show and all of Taffer and all those guys. I didn't know you're going back to Vegas for season 10 to close that out. I didn't know that you had meetups, holding courts, interviews, masterminds, speeches, VIP dinners for charity. I didn't know. I heard this from someone who's on the tour. I didn't know that you were doing the Aspire tour in Austin. And I think Jason Pfeiffer is going to be there as well down in Austin with amazing meetups, holding course interviews, as well as a VIP dinner for charity. And even I didn't know you're going to be in Newport Beach with Tim Story. Well, now you know. And if you don't know and you want to know, join our text community. 949 is the area code, 298 the next three numbers. The last four numbers are simple. 2905, that's 949, pinned right there. 298-2905. If you want to be invited or informed, not obligated. There's no obligation. Don't tell me to F off because I invite you to cool shit. Just tell me, not at this time. Thank you. Keep me on the list. It's not to offend you, but the ego's there to what? Control, defend, and prove. And so if you find yourself in a position of controlling things, defending things, or trying to prove yourself, you're not in the right space to be in our space, which is a neighborhood of people that want to help each other and know people that help each other. I'm on a brand new computer, so let's bring on our first guest and let me grab my notes. Thanks. All right. That's easy. Jonathan David Lewis is in the house as I pull up my notes, which shouldn't be hard to get here. And Jonathan, I appreciate your patience, but I'm going to let the amazing Dr. Piper introduce you and ask the first question.
Well, Jonathan, I just want to, number one, thank you for being here. Thanks for spending the time and taking the time with us. I am super excited about the rebuilders and daily foundations for the leaders that we need. I think that's awesome. I saw that you're from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Even
Yep.
cooler. I love the hot air balloons there, and I trained in Taos, New Mexico. I am very passionate about high stakes leadership, but I like the idea of this rebuilding and identifying ways to build up. And I wanted to just have you open that up for us a little bit and explain the foundation of that rebuilding for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty intuitive for most of us that things aren't going well in the culture around us. A lot of institutions are struggling or crumbling. That's not entirely true everywhere, but in a lot of places, a lot of domains are going through a pretty incredible change right now. And I think the question is, what do we do about it as leaders? We actually just finished a new workforce study. We had 3,000 participants across America, and we have the data now. I think we all intuitively know this, but the data shows the current workforce is struggling with what we're calling TFS. They're feeling transactional, futureless, and suffering.
Hmm.
And so, if you're trying to work with a workforce who is feeling TFS, what is your role? And I've seen so much with leaders the last few years, obviously a lot of good things, but also I've seen leaders blame other people, run away, hide. What should the role be of a leader today? And our recommendation, our posture is, instead of doing those things, we should take responsibility for the problems around us and be rebuilders.
I love it.
Very good. Bart, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, Jonathan, you talk a lot about identity development and the
Mhm.
power of identity. Are you referencing that from a leader's perspective or from an organization's perspective, the identity element?
Absolutely. The book itself is focused primarily on the leader. My practice, we do brand strategy. So my practice is with group identity and helping organizations sort of say goodbye to the old story and say hello to a new story, and that's group identity. The book, The Rebuilders, is focused on what job as a leader should I take on today? What role should I take on today? And we're recommending that, if you think of yourself as a rebuilder, you can have a positive, optimistic view of the future, even though we all know a lot is changing right now. It doesn't mean the world's over. It doesn't mean that your world is over. It means that you have a responsibility. And if something's breaking or broken, rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when we rebuild, people think it requires some sort of pivot or transformation. And a lot of times it's really just an expansion of the current skills, knowledge, and desire, and understanding of the careers, industries, jobs that are doing well, that are stable, not just what you think will be doing well, which is getting more difficult to understand because the time frame in which things do well is shortened and constricted, and also extremely volatile today because of a brand new capability of AI, and how we just don't know what's being developed or what has been developed that develops itself. It creates an exponentiality of change. So, how do you help people with that alignment to get them more within the context of their own inventoried skills and knowledge of what's doing well today and what's stable?
Yeah, it's really interesting perspective. It reminds me of what you were saying, Jason. Your kids are getting older. You're in that sort of zone of parenting with kids growing up, potentially entering adulthood, et cetera, soon. And I view it like there's a seed. There are many seeds of identity in all of us. Not all of them are watered and grow, but they do. So if you think of it, as a young man, there's a seed of a grandfather in you, but unless you do the work of building a family and raising your kids and teaching them character, you're never going to really grow that seed of a grandfather into what it really could be, which could be beautiful and strong and profound. I view it the same way in businesses. You're not starting, if you have an existing concern, you're not starting from nothing, and you shouldn't think of this outside of certain industries. You shouldn't think of this as a complete reset. It's what you're saying is, what do I have that's working, and what perhaps is dramatically changing. And I think directionally, one of the clear things we're seeing is that AI is middle to middle, and it is not pre and post. AI
Mm.
requires human judgment, and it requires somebody to figure out what to do with the information or the production that's generated. As an example, there's many other changes happening in our industries. So I think the theory, though, of the rebuilders is, there's a million things you can guess. I totally agree, David. What a wonderful perspective not to guess about the future too much right now. Nobody really knows. What we do know is that a lot is changing a lot. There are a lot of problems in our industries and companies. And if you're going to take responsibility for them, you need character, because it's a heavy load. And so the book is written in daily reflections. There's 6 months of daily reflections intended to help build character in leaders. And I think that's the place to start.
I think in that book, The Rebuilders, which is available everywhere for everyone, we must have discernment on the difference between building character and revealing it. And they both are necessary in development of talent. A lot of times we don't allow people to reveal their character, or unfortunately, a lot of times their character is revealed while we're developing character as well. And when we use discernment to do so in books like your guide with Daily Foundations for Leaders that we desperately need, that are aligned with a divine direction to be of service and of value to our country and to the world, and maybe beyond, as we're learning through scientific things. It's a great perspective. President at McKee Wallwork. Go to McKeeWallwork.com. Get the book, The Rebuilders, available everywhere. Let's reveal who you are and what you want to become by giving some guidance from A to B in an accelerated manner. But remember, getting from A to B, even with the help of people like our friend Jonathan David Lewis, it's still a private lesson. So you got to put that work in yourself to get from A to B. Jonathan David Lewis, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you jump on my friend's podcast as well. I'm sure they would love to have deeper conversations. They're much more mature than I, so they give more than people. But I have a few other shows I'd like you on as well. I just like to spice up the taste buds and get people stimulated so that they can get on to an in-depth, intelligent conversation with Dr. Jason Pfeiffer and Bart Berkey. Thanks, Jonathan David Lewis. That's a lot of first names, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you soon. Great job. Get that book, The Rebuilders. Reveal your character and develop the rest. All right, we're going to bring on our next friend, Kyle Zagrodsky, out of Tennessee. That rhymes a little bit. CEO and founder of Osteo Strong. And we're going to just start building awareness about building Osteo Strong and understanding our bones and the bone density. I just read a report about Ozempic that is having a terrible impact on bone density. There's I'm not a doctor like some people on this show, but I'm well aware of how important it is to be aware of what our bones do and what bone density does. And I'm going to go ahead and allow Jason again to lead off, because he is a doctor and an orthopedic surgeon, world renowned, and some of the biggest names in sports, especially. I'm sure you are well aware of the importance of bone density and what types of effects it has if we're not aware of our own bone density.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, let me just say I'm super excited to have you, because this is the world where I live, right? I live in Cover Call, in a community where we have folks who fall and break their hips, they fall and break their shoulders, they have osteoporosis, osteopenia, and a lot of the actions that you have founded through OsteoStrong are really those preventative actions that help people in scenarios when we know that if you're over a certain age and you fall and break your hip, your risk of mortality is sometimes as much as 1 out of 3 don't make it for an entire year after that happens. And so if we can help prevent that on the front end, I want to applaud you for doing that. But I wanted you to open us up with an introduction of OsteoStrong. I know a bit about it, but this is your baby, so let's hear what you got.
Yeah, sure. OsteoStrong is they're brick and mortar clinics. We have about 212 around the world now in 14 countries. There's the specific goal of the centers. Our primary goal is to help people build bone density through a novel technology that we manufacture and have patented. Some of the benefits or side effects of using the devices are massive increases in physical strength, balance, agility, posture, and elimination of chronic joint and back pain.
That's
sessions.
it. That's
Yep.
all. That's all it does. What do you?
That's,
What kind of?
actually, it does more
You know
than
what?
that.
I'm surprised they let you on my show. If that's all the impact you're having, just
It
a
actually does
few
more than
things.
that.
I'm 58 years old and I have none of those things. I probably no kidding.
We're about the same age. I'm 57, and sessions take about 15 minutes one day a week. We could all do a session how we're dressed right now. You won't break a sweat, get fatigued, or sore the next day. It's based upon concept mechanotransduction or osteogenic loading, which is creating a level of force and pressure against the musculoskeletal system sufficient to trigger osteogenesis or the development of new bone.
Which is
So
cool
is that
because his book's name's Unbreakable. So I talk
That
about
was my first book. We're gonna me and the president of my company, he earned his doctorate this year, are publishing another book in about a month.
and a friend of mine's an investor in the company, a wise, fairly unknown man is Tony Robbins. So I know how well he vets opportunities. You know, I'm gonna jump in front of you, Bart, because I'm really curious. Every force has a counter force, and I know Dr. Pfeiffer, when it deals with osteo strength, I'm sure there's some things that happen to the body when we have this process. Are there any side effects that we have to be aware of as well?
Side effects of inactivity,
Oh,
or,
no, I
or
was asking Kyle for his solution. You know, it does like all amazing, right? Like I'm all over joint balance. I mean, I have so many different exercises, and I'll take 15 minutes on a machine to help enhance my workouts because he addresses almost all the issues from back to joints to balance, flexibility, obviously strength. These are things 50-year-old men want. I'm curious if it has any side effects, the treatment.
No, there are no side effects. There is could be a risk of injury, like with any exercise protocol of every out of, but it's much safer than working out. For instance, we've had about 20 million discrete sessions on our machines, and we've had maybe 40 reported injuries over the past 15 years. So it's 0.00003% chance of injury. So
Safer than a bath. Safer than a bath.
Pardon?
It's safer than taking a bath.
It is, and we're really, which is really quite remarkable, considering that our primary clientele are deconditioned people who come to us with weak bones and weak muscles, or other biomechanical issues and challenges that they deal with, and so we're very proud of that fact. The other unique thing about our brand, because I own a software company that serves the gym industry. And I've taught thousands of people how to operate gyms over the years, and used to own a bunch of gyms. The interesting thing about OsteoStrong is not just the results we get, because you can have things that get great results, but do people actually use them sufficiently? It's like working out, right? Most people don't like to work out. We're designed to avoid physical activity. Biologically, we are calorie consumers and calorie conservers. And so to willfully expend calories is not something anybody wants to do if we don't have to do. So with the gym industry, does a lot of work to make it fun, exciting, build community, all the things so that people will work out. But for the most part, most people don't, or they'll quit.
Most people don't.
Yeah, well, I hear that.
Well, they won't, because it's their biology, right? Like your DNA tells you conserve calories. So to willfully go against your biology is always going to be an uphill battle. With OsteoStrong, we see about 90 to 100% of our members every single week in every location around the world, which shocked me when I started this company. I'm like, man, people are actually doing the protocol. They're being compliant.
I had no idea the power of what you were doing and the size, scope, and scale of what you're doing. Bart, you wrote the book on Most People Don't. So the alignment between Kyle, his business, and his success of being able to somehow encourage or empower people to do what most people don't for this incredible outcome is right up your alley.
No, for sure. And I love what you're talking about with skeletal health and as people age, all of these things. And Kyle, just a really simple, basic question. Is it a machine? Is it a device? Is it exercising? Like what? Because
Yeah,
I've not looked. I've not looked yet.
all of the
Okay.
above.
Okay.
So if you go, we don't compete with gyms, and it's not like a glib statement in that the experience is much different than what you would expect from a gym, and the outcomes are much different. So we attract people for different reasons. What you do in an OsteoStrong is in order to create an osteogenic bone building effect, we'll call it, is you need a lot of force to do that. Very specific things happen, and just in the act of triggering osteogenesis, it's almost like medicine for your body, and I'll explain that in just a moment. Beyond the outcome, so David, when you said, "Man, you do all these things," I'm like, well, there's actually a lot more going on. I'll get into that in just a minute. But essentially, how it works is we have 4 different devices or machines. They look a lot like gym equipment, but function differently.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is best way to do is for me to create an analogy. You're going to have to create a lot of force on your skeletal system to trigger osteogenic effect of building bone. But that is very unsafe for a lot of people to do. It's easy to do when you're younger. You're just built to take, impact level force. It's almost, I'm going to say it's impossible to do in the gym. It's just very hard. You have to lift very heavy, which is much more dangerous, and you're more prone to injuries when you're lifting heavy. So the idea was really inspired by, recognized by Dr. Jaquish, and what he read a study in Brazil where they found that, like, if you're doing a bench press, you're 7 times stronger at the apex of your press than you are with the bar on your chest. And so in order to figure out a way to address his mother's osteoporotic diagnosis, he designed a simple prototype machine where she could push in a biomechanically optimal position to create maximum force production. But in order to do that, you had to be static and start out in your strongest range of motion and end in your strongest range of motion, because most injuries in the gym happen when you're in an eccentric contraction or letting down of heavy weight. And so if imagine it's a maximum force production push in an isometric position, sufficient to trigger osteogenesis, right?
But it's only for 15 minutes a week.
You
And
really only
I imagine you visit a facility to do so.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
I'm going to have to cut you off only because Brandon Steiner's waiting in the wings. And like I said, we are just a taste of Kyle today to entice him also to come onto our other shows.
Yep.
We'd love to have you on our TV show. I know Bart, Jason would love to have you on their podcast as well, especially Jason.
Love to speak with you both more.
It would be amazing. And I want to find in Orange County where my closest OsteoStrong facility is, because this definitely needs to get on to my health agenda.
We have them out there. We have one up in the Woodlands where Jason is.
Yeah,
awesome. Bart's in Washington, D.C., correct, Bart?
Yes, I am.
Hopefully we have one close in the nation's capital.
Yeah, because I'm older than all of you after you just revealed your ages. 59 right here, my friends.
59.
Jason's 30, but he in doctor years, he's 85. So he's Drew Brees' age. I think that's about the exact amount. But Kyle, I hate to cut you off. We got Brandon Steiner, like I said, in the wings. We'll have you back. We have many shows to put you on. If you are interested in being stronger and getting rid of your back pain, your joint pain, you want better posture, better balance, better flexibility, there's a quick, easy solution to put the pressure in the right places by utilizing OsteoStrong, osteostrong.me. Find the closest location. There's hundreds of them, over 200 of them around the world. It's a proven solution backed by one of my good friends and invested in by one of our good leaders in the country who's very health conscious, the amazing Tony Robbins. So take that for credibility. Kyle Zagrodsky, thanks for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thank you, David. Appreciate you all.
Thanks for your patience, man. You killed it. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. I've been waiting all day to talk to this guy. One of my favorite things about doing shows is I get to utilize my show to keep in contact with my friends. This is a friend, a mentor, a teacher, and a coach. He has inspired me throughout the years, been a leader in the same industry that I've worked in, and he just always is thinking outside the box. He owns a company called Collectible Exchange, collectibleexchange.com. But we're going to talk about his favorite topic, the Buffalo Bills. Brandon Steiner, welcome to Office Hours, episode 882. I think Brandon was on episode 5. So
I think so. I think that's true.
How are you?
It seemed like yesterday I was in your office, and remember we did that quick little 5-minute talk with that group you were coaching. That was unbelievable. Love that, spontaneous. Everything's amazing. I mean, I love creating and building, and definitely not doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah,
someone else is doing that. I let them. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. And I love disrupting and building and breaking all the rules kind of thing and figuring out a different way of doing things. But that's kind of, I feel like, why we're here. So it's been really fun. I've had a really great, I think, I don't know if we've really done anything officially since I'm not with Steiner Sports anymore, but now Collectible Exchange. And what a run the last 6 years. I didn't see it coming because, you get a little older. So I'm definitely going to go linking with the last guest and get some of that stuff going. But, because that sounds really intriguing, but I just feel like I wasn't sure, you're 60, you're not sure if you still have it, which I tell everybody out there that's getting a little older, you do have it. Dreams are not for young people, they're for everybody. And the experience and knowledge you have really comes in handy when you're trying to execute and do something new and different, and you shouldn't hesitate to do it. The highest level of entrepreneurship in this country is between 55 and 65, by the way. And that's not the young kids. They don't know what they're doing. But they got the enthusiasm, and, they do think they could do it. So I give them credit for that. And they get stuff done really quickly. So I do love the young generation.
Brandon, I heard the inverse is true when you're 55 to 65 playing basketball, though. We think we have the enthusiasm. We think we can do it. But I was talking to AJ Vaynerchuk and Gary, and they certainly love to take advantage of us older guys because, maybe in entrepreneurship we can kick their ass, but on the court, I think we're at a detriment. But
AJ plays in my game regularly.
Yeah, I know. He told me.
But I'm, Wednesday night's my game. I'm just getting warmed up for my game on Wednesday night.
I saw you with the towel. I saw you in the green room. Go get him, Brandon. But give us a little bit. You have this authentic way of giving people value, emotional attachment, and when teams are changing venues, there's a lot of opportunity to take a piece of the stadium, to take a piece of their memory, and keep it at home. Give me an idea of what you're doing with the Bills since February, as the Bills are going to give fans opportunities to own authentic pieces of Highmark Stadium.
I mean, this is not true with every stadium. It's true with a lot. I mean, people put their hard blood, sweat, and tears into a stadium, and now a team decides to move into a new one, and there's an emotional connection with the old stadium where he was sitting, who he was sitting with, all the little idiosyncrasies that go into when you go to a game, especially who you go to a game with. And I think with the Bills, it's on a level that I've never seen. I mean, this fan base is crazy. I mean, they're committed, they have purpose, they're passionate. They're not a fan weather, even though the weather's not great, they're not a fair weather fan base by any stretch. They're 24/7, 365, and they love their Bills. And that stadium's important to them. And just like, I took that Yankee Stadium or Texas Stadium, to move, I always say, and tell me if you agree with this, but to move on with something new, you have to settle the past.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of teams run into the new stadium. Wait a minute. You need to make sure that people understand that what just happened over the last 20, 30 years was important. It was worth saving those memories. It's worth investing in. And that's my job, is to take that stadium apart and give every last bit of piece, whether it's the turf, cutting up the goalposts, seats, flagpole, all kinds of stuff in the concourse. There's probably 3,000 or 4,000 signs around the stadium, and the Bills fans are buying everything. It's been probably the number one stadium out of maybe 10 that I've done so far. I've never seen anything like it. The Bills fans have not disappointed, and it's been quite a project with Highmark Stadium.
That's so good. Dr. Pfeiffer, you're a big fan, not of the Bills.
So I do enjoy the Bills. I love the Bills Mafia. Ed Oliver is an athlete that I worked with when he was down here at Westfield High School in Houston. So he's a defensive lineman for the Buffalo Bills and is an awesome guy. I think he's probably coming up on a contract, but I think super exciting to see this. And as a kid who collected memorabilia and who loves these memories, I just love the idea of what you're doing. I think this is awesome. What are you finding is the most kind of enticing for these Bills fans in terms of what are people going after? Are they going after seats? Are they going after signs? Are they going after ticket stubs? Or what is it that they're looking for?
What's interesting is like I didn't realize, and obviously I've spent a lot of time in the stadium now, but half the stadium are bleachers. And we've never done well with bleachers when we're taking stadiums apart for some reason. People generally want the seats, but not the bleachers. Not this crowd, though. The bleachers are right neck and neck with the seats. And, you know, the bleachers are a little different the way they're set up in Highmark. But so the bleachers have been incredibly popular. And also the goalposts. You know, I've never seen, we only have a few pieces left, if any, but the goalposts, people are asking for specific sections of the turf. I want the 40-yard line. I want a piece of the end zone because I sit at the end zone. So a lot of very specific requests coming, which I've never seen. But it's been it's just been all over the place. We've been trying to do projects with like Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Marv Levy, getting them involved is just such a big part of it. It's been fun. And like when I look at collectible exchange, it's really about I'm taking the fans' ideas and putting it in play instead of like where I used to really be about my ideas and putting them in play and hoping the fans would like it. I've turned the tables now, and I see some of the best ideas that are collectors around the country, and they want to liquidate their collections. In this case, the Buffalo Bill fans have come to me with different ideas of things that they want, and we're trying to deliver them. And it's been working. It's been just amazing. This project's been the weather, man, is like, if it's not snowing, it's raining. It's been a very, very complicated project to get that stadium, liquidated. But we're getting there. We're just about there now. So it's pretty exciting.
Art Berkey.
Yeah, Brandon, just two things. First of all, thank you. I was reading about the proceeds split between your organization and Erie County. There's so many organizations that would not choose to split. So thank you for doing what most people don't. But I had more of a question for you. I keep on hearing emotional attachment. Is there a collectible, an item that brings you, what is that item, if there is one, that brings you the greatest emotional attachment? I'm just curious.
100%. And, I'm trying to fall more in love with what other people are doing, what other people have, and try to see, the beauty in what they're trying to put together collectible wise. But some great collectors out there. But I have my section signed, which is what made me go right away with the Bills. I want to make sure I got every section signed because my 84H in Madison Square Garden, where the New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup in Game 7,
Yeah.
and obviously Mark Messier was a huge part of my career and still is my favorite collectible. And when he came up to my office and gave me a 611 goal stick, which I thought was extremely generous of him on a game day to stop by my office and say, Brandon, I got the 611 last night. I wanted you to have the stick. And I'm like, wow. I've done 40 million autographs and thousands of players and autographs like no one else has. And it's a rarity, like when you run into like a Mark Messier. And that was pretty cool. Yeah, real
And
fun.
that memory will stay with you forever.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Those are two items I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite sporting events. But like you see it on my Instagram, I post a lot of these videos, but like another thing that I have is like when Mariano I was doing a tape for my show and he didn't have any sports memorabilia. He goes, Brad, I gave it to you all. And he took the cameraman's box that tapes were in and cut it out. And that was his glove as a kid.
Yeah.
He couldn't afford a glove. And he had the paper cardboard glove. I love that video. They got 1 million views, by the way. But I love that video. The way you just see the way he takes the cardboard. You could see he'd just done it 100 times before. And those are the stories. I think that when you run into like greatness, like a stadium like Highmark, players that are great, I think there's a learning lesson. And it's something we learn every which way. Not that I'm ever going to be able to throw a cutter, not that I'm ever going to be able to build a stadium and have the kind of fan base like Buffalo Bills do, but you learn something about how that base gets created. And as a business person, it's just amazing that I've been able to have those opportunities, those kind of connections, which has helped me with my business.
Yeah. Very
An
cool.
amazing
What a pleasure.
entrepreneur, an amazing visionary, a good friend, someone that has built outside of the box some great businesses around sports, from Steiner Sports to his collectible business now. Incredible. Just want to see you next time I'm in New York. I'll keep inviting you, my friend. I'm so proud of you. Always enjoy having you. You're always invited, not obligated.
Thank
Keep up
you.
the great work. And if you ever want to do some Napoleon Hill collectibles, I'm the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute, and there's a great emotional attachment to Think and Grow Rich. So you could branch out beyond sports and get into the big thought leader space.
I tell every class I teach, it's always the number one book I recommend, Think and Grow Rich. I say nobody wants to get rich slow. The number one business book doesn't say get rich; it says think and get rich.
You got it. That's my boy, Brandon Steiner. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Promise us you'll come back. These guys have some great shows as well. Dr. Jason Piper, big orthopedic surgeon down in Houston. And of course, the amazing Bart Berkey, working in coaching and leadership, especially with hospitality.
Look forward to it.
Great guys to know. Okay.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate your team over there. Love talking with you guys again. Hopefully soon. Be well.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Good luck tonight, man. Go get them.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, boys. My favorite part of the day is office hours takeaways of the day. It's where I capture what's resonating with my friends and start building stories and teaching lessons around it. Dr. Jason Piper, incredible job as a co-host. What's your takeaway of the day?
So my takeaway was really self-care, and it was a kind of a bit of a travel, right? From the beginning, we talked about burnout, that feeling of being transactional, futureless, and you said, well, man, that's burnout for us in medicine. And then you flipped over to OsteoStrong and taking care of your body and Wolf's Law, right? I don't know if you're familiar with Wolf's Law, but Wolf's Law says if you increase pressure, as you increase pressure, that's how you increase strength. And that's what they're applying at OsteoStrong. And then you finish with this just emotional like joy of caring and bringing back these memories. And so I felt like self-care was what I was hearing, and I really loved it.
I think that's a great takeaway. I love the insights of a guy who spends most of the day figuring out what most people don't. And I thought it was funny. My takeaway, not to steal, was most people don't like think about collectibles and, OsteoStrong, or even with our first guest, and he even said most people don't do this shit.
Yeah.
I loved it. And so, my takeaway is, in honor of Bart Berkey, it's most people don't. So why don't you look at what most people don't, and you may find some great value. I will tell you real quick, I have to share this story. I do a lot of cleaning, and my wife calls me a hoarder. So I'm really working through energetically throwing away stuff. Even though my wife's truly the hoarder, I don't say anything. But we were in the garage, and my wife, to make a point, is like, look at this shit. Like, who would save this? This is old baseball junk. Like, why would you keep this? I'm throwing it away. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I represented the Clemente family. They couldn't always afford to pay me. I got paid with Roberto Clemente signed bats and balls and jerseys, and that right there could buy this house.
Yeah.
Do not throw away. I was like making a serious. I'm like, thank you, God. The one thing she pointed out was literally the most expensive collectibles that I also, by the way, because Roberto Clemente is my hero, because I'm on a mission like he is, and he had a much bigger mission in his life than 3,000 hits or winning an MVP of the World Series. And I just thought it was great that God gave me that opportunity to save all my junk, because the one thing she picked out was definitely not junk. But go ahead. Most people don't, is my takeaway.
Yeah.
And most people don't save Roberto Clemente shit. So
correct. And most people don't use office hours with David Meltzer mugs just
saw
to make
that.
sure. Yeah. So, all right, good. And I asked for it. They did give it to me. I didn't sneak it away. But anyway, my greatest takeaway from today, and then also, David, through the people that we're meeting, I was just sharing this story earlier today. In Las Vegas, as an example for the live shooting of office hours, there were so many people that we met. And what I just wrote down is live well and remember well. It is about the experiences. It's about getting your body and your mind in shape and thinking right. So all of the people that I met from you in Las Vegas, I figured that was almost like a recipe for success for living well and remembering well, because it was everyone from Dylan Smith, about who wrote the book on dyslexia, The Words Are Backwards, I'm Not. And it's Richard Dolan talking about brand and advising and helping celebrities think about next. And it's Craig that's talking about vibrations and how it can help your body. And the doctor gentleman, Doug Grant, is that right?
Yep.
Doug, talking about nutrition and what you can do in the blood panel. So all of these things, it's the recipe. All we need to do is open up our minds and be positively distracted to listen to what is out there. But most people don't. Most people are going to keep on going down the hill in the same rut because it's easy. And what my takeaway is, challenge yourself to do truly what most people don't do, and seek out ways to learn and talk to people and listen to every single thing that David says and single thing that Jason said, because the answers are there. So if you're unhappy, unhealthy, or unwise, listen to people that have some of the answers, and you're going to feel better, get better, and do better, because most people don't.
I love it. You said an important word. I study these words that start with 2 letters called and remember is a really important thing to do. Recollect, remind. These are important. There's also another one that is inherent in what I teach, and it's called resolution, which is indicative that every problem already has a solution in it, and it's just a lapse of time before it becomes a resolution, a resolution. So I love that. Most people don't look at the re's, and I do. RE, remember the Titans of Office Hours, episode 882. My favorite Titans, the incredible Dr. Jason Pfeiffer, always invited back to co-host with me or just to be a guest. And the same goes true to the king of hospitality, a leader amongst leaders, Bart Berkey, changing the face of speaking, coaching, mentoring, workshops. Definitely reach out to these 2 gentlemen who also have great podcasts and are always looking for a lesson to be more interested than interesting. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you both. I am so blessed to have friends like Bart Berkey, and thank you, Mia, by the way, and the incredible Dr. Jason Pfeiffer. Kyle, Brandon, thank you guys. David, Jonathan, sorry. Amazing guest as well. I'm going to review the cities that I'm in, doing meetups, holding court, VIP dinners for charity, masterminds, speeches. It's cool. I'll be in Madison, Wisconsin, Chicago. Then I'm going to the Bahamas at the Atlantis with Sharon Lecter and Bill Walsh. Then I'm going to Atlanta with Jesse Itzler, Jason Guarini, Chad Shandragan, Kim Walsh Phillips. Then I'm going back to Chicago for the restaurant show. Then I'm going to Minnesota. Then I'm going to Las Vegas for season 10 of Office Hours. Then I'm going to Austin for the Aspire Business Tour. Jason will be there as well. Remember, meetups, holding courts, interviews, speeches, masterminds, and VIP dinners for charity. And then Tim Story and I will be in Newport Beach. Tim Story will be in Austin, Texas as well. Remember, most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Hit it, Gigi.
Oh no, we can't forget this. Where am I going to put this?
Wanna know where David's gonna be? Get invites, updates, and community. When he's in your city, you won't miss a thing. Just text the number, let your phone ring, 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 ring. 949-292-905. That's 949-292-905. Events, connection, and opportunity.